Man, sometimes there's just no better way to say it. Belt to ass. That's exactly what went down against the Giants. And honestly, it was the kind of performance fans have been waiting on. I mean, dominance from the first whistle to the last. And yeah, I know what y'all thinking. Eagle, you said some things about certain players. You right. I was on their necks. But after that showing, credit where it's due. Let's talk about it, because I got to see this one live. It was my wife's birthday weekend, so I was juggling celebrations and trying not to miss a snap. Had the AirPod in, acting like I was fully present, but you already know I was tuned in. And when I got back home, you best believe I ran it back. I had to, because what I saw on that field, that energy, that execution, it deserved a second look. Now let's start with a guy I had been calling out all season. Brett. I was calling for him to get benched every week. Bench his ass. That's what I was yelling. And what does he do? Shows up and shuts me the hell up. That's the kind of bounce back you want to see. That's the kind of chip-on-your-shoulder performance that turns doubters into believers. The run game opened up, pass protection was strong, and the offense finally looked like it had rhythm. And remember, this was against the Giants' defensive front that includes Dexter Lawrence. Not a walk in the park. But Brett stood tall, and if those PFF grades come out with him in the top 5, I wouldn't be surprised one bit. Matter of fact, I'm expecting it. That's how clean his game was. Toe stepped in too, and man, I'll be real. I'd rather have 100% Toe than a 65% Cam Jurgens. You give Toe a full week of practice with the starters, and suddenly it looks like he belongs. That man played like a legit starter. We've been roasting him all year, talking about put in Drew Kendall. But after a game like that, you can't argue the results. He was solid under center, even held up in shotgun sets. That's growth. That's what you want from your depth, someone who steps in and doesn't miss a beat. And the run game? Finally, balanced, explosive, decisive. Jalen Hurts, efficient as hell. 15 for 20, under 200 yards, but 4 touchdowns. That's what efficiency looks like. And y'all remember what I said 2 weeks ago, right? Jalen Hurts is in the MVP conversation. Folks were doubting. Eagle, calm down. You reaching. Nah. Look at the tape. Look at the numbers. Outside that first Giants matchup, Hurts has been locked in this season. But people only wanted to talk about the play-calling issues or nitpick every little thing. Meanwhile, Jalen been stacking good games on the low. Now the team looks sharp, and suddenly folks waking up like, wait, he might be top 5. Yeah, no kidding. Now let's talk about Tank Bigsby. Because I wasn't mad at Tank himself. I was mad at how we were using him, or not using him. It made no sense. But this week, oh, they fixed it. Clear switch up. Tank is your RB2, and Will Shipley is handling kick returns. And let me be clear, that's not a shot at Shipley. Dude was solid on special teams, getting us to the 35, the 40. Great field position. But Tank, though, 9 or 10 carries, over 100 yards. That's over 10 yards a carry. And this wasn't garbage time production. He was dragging defenders, fighting for extra yardage. That's what I've been waiting to see. Use him right, and he produces. It's that simple. He deserves more touches moving forward. Even Shipley, like I said, handled his role well. Special teams came to play. And shout out to the Gibson kid too. Great job all around. Coaching staff made a real adjustment, and it paid off. You love to see that kind of in-week correction actually show up in the game. That's coaching. Another guy who showed me something? Kelee Ringo. First time around, he got bullied. Let's just keep it real. But this time, much improved. Hardly heard his name, and in the world of cornerbacks, that's usually a good sign. Held it down opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. Now, the pairing of Ringo and Adoree Jackson didn't work last time. But with Mitchell out there, much smoother. When Jackson comes back, maybe you give him that spot again. Maybe not. But the point is, they tried to pick on Kelee, and it didn't work. Props to him. And man, Vic Fangio deserves a nod too. The game plan this time was tight. Last time we faced Jackson Dart, we underestimated his legs. He and Scatterbo did whatever they wanted. This time, we clamped down, contained the scrambling, played more disciplined ball. Solid adjustments all around. Now let's give love to Kevin Patullo. I was critical, and rightfully so. But this time, he called one hell of a game. You saw it early. Saquon Barkley busts off that 60-plus yard run. Tank eats. The offense is humming. Play action. Under center. Screens. Outside runs. Toss plays. It finally felt like we were unpredictable. That's what happens when your coordinator opens up the playbook and trusts his guys. And Jalen Hurts? Throwing over the middle more. Been waiting on that. That's been a problem spot for years, even back with Kellen Moore and Shane Steichen. But now, we're seeing Hurts get comfortable hitting those intermediate throws. And yo, the tight end switch up? Genius. They said forget Grant Calcaterra, E.J. Jenkins. If y'all don't want to block, we'll throw Fred Johnson out there as TE2. An offensive lineman as a tight end. And guess what? It worked. Johnson did his job, blocked his man, and we even threw to him once. That's creativity. That's being solution-minded. And shout out to Devonta Smith. 6 catches, over 80 yards. Just smooth. And Jahan Dotson? That guy is patient. Took his shot and connected. He even gave Hurts his flowers after the game, talking about how the quarterback is proving everyone right. That's leadership. That's a guy with the locker room behind him. And look, I know people get into the betting stuff, but I'm just saying, Dallas Goedert in the red zone? Practically automatic. That dude is feasting in close quarters. When you need a big-time catch near the goal line, he's that dude. And with A.J. Brown out, guys stepped up. The whole unit elevated. Starters got pulled late because it was a blowout, and that tells you everything you need to know. We didn't just win. We dominated. Now flipping over to the defensive side, let's talk about how this front played, because they absolutely showed out. And even though I'm still saying we need more edge help, more consistent pressure from the outside, I can't deny that this group came ready. Jalen Hunt, man, that dude brought the heat. Yeah, he missed a sack early on, but he made up for it, and ended up getting one later. He was disruptive. That's what we've been needing. He's starting to flash that potential we all saw. Then you got Moro Ojomo, still out there looking solid, doing all the dirty work in the trenches. Jordan Davis had a strong day, especially against the run. Plugging gaps, controlling the line. That's what you want from your big man in the middle. And Jalen Carter? Got himself a sack, made his presence felt. The guy is a problem every single snap. Offensive lines have to account for him, or they're getting cooked. Now, Josh Uche, I feel like he got cheated. Should have had a sack on that strip fumble, but they didn't give it to him. And then the very next play, you get that controversial call on Slayton. Giants fans mad about the offensive pass interference flag, but honestly, I thought it was the right call. He pushed off, simple as that. But truth be told, the officiating in this one was inconsistent across the board. Calls were questionable for both sides. It was one of those games where you just had to play through the whistles and handle your business anyway. Now, one thing that really caught me off guard was seeing Nakobe Dean out-snap Jair Brown. That shocked me, especially since we've seen Jair flashing more upside in certain situations. But to Dean's credit, he looked really solid. The only time he really struggled, and this has always been his issue, was in coverage. That running back touchdown? That was on him. Should have subbed him out on that obvious passing down. That's where you want Jair in. But again, outside of that one play, Nakobe had a really good game. Physical, instinctive, flying to the ball. That's the kind of linebacker play you need down the stretch. Jair himself had a solid showing too. Almost got himself a sack. He was all over Jackson Dart, holding onto his leg while someone else came in and finished the play. I think it was Jalen Hunt who got there first. Either way, the effort was there. Both those linebackers were active, and that's something to build on. Let's go back to the secondary real quick. Kali Ringo, again, I can't say it enough, was locked in. He looked composed, confident, didn't bite on double moves, played physical at the line. And when you don't hear a corner's name all game, that usually means they did their job. Reed Blankenship, though? That's another story. I've been saying this all year. Reed is not that number one safety. He's just not. When he had C.J. Gardner-Johnson next to him, he looked a lot better. When he was asked to be the guy, the results dropped off. And now that he's next to Nestor Makuba, it's not quite clicking. I think Reed is a solid piece, someone you want in your rotation, but not the centerpiece of your safety room. He's a Robin, not a Batman, and there's no shame in that. Just gotta be real about what he brings to the table. Still, despite that, this defense balled out. The Giants couldn't get anything going consistently. They had that one drive early, and after that, it was clamps. We rotated well, adjusted on the fly, and shut it down. That's the kind of energy you want heading into a bye week. Speaking of which, going into the bye hot is everything. That's momentum you can build on. And not just momentum in the locker room, but in the standings too. We dropped 2 games earlier, yeah, but now? You're looking at Dallas getting blown out, Washington struggling, and the Giants still figuring things out. The NFC East is wide open for the taking. And truth be told, it ain't just about winning the division anymore. It's about chasing that #1 seed. This is where the real work begins. Forget just keeping an eye on the East. Now you got to start watching what Tampa Bay is doing, what Detroit's doing. You already got the win over Tampa. That's huge. And you play Detroit soon, so that's a big-time matchup. You beat them, you've got the head-to-head. You want to be in that position where if all these teams finish with similar records, the tiebreakers work in your favor. Because then it's not just the Eagles made the playoffs, it's the Eagles are hosting throughout the playoffs. Same with Green Bay. You got them on the schedule. If they're in the hunt, that's another opportunity to get the edge in the standings. These upcoming games are critical. Every win matters. Every mistake can cost you seeding. So the focus now has to be sharper than ever. And while the East is looking wobbly, let's not get too comfortable. Giants did beat us once. That can't happen again. Washington, they might be battered, but division games are always weird. We've seen that too many times. So the message has to be, handle your business. Take care of what's in front of you. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and show up in the big matchups. Because this version of the Eagles, this team looks like a contender. With A.J. Brown out, and you still put up numbers like that? That's depth. That's culture. That's coaching. Guys are stepping up. Everyone's playing their role. And when you can win without one of your biggest stars, that's when the league starts to take notice. This team's ceiling depends on consistency. That's it. The talent is there. We've seen it. And now, with this momentum, it's all about keeping the foot on the gas. Bye weeks coming up. Perfect time to get healthy, reset mentally, and prepare for the stretch run. Because make no mistake, it's all right in front of us. Handle the division. Beat the other conference leaders. Secure the top seed. And if this team stays locked in like they were in that Giants game, I don't care who we face. Home field in Philly is a problem. You come into that stadium in January and think you're walking out with a win? Good luck. But for now, you enjoy this one. That was a statement. No A.J. Brown, no problem. Defense dominated. Offense moved the ball at will. Coaching staff made smart adjustments. That's how you play championship football. FlyEaglesFly News family. Smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments, and let's talk birds. Shockwaves are rippling through the NFL world tonight as whispers of a seismic move have taken hold. The Philadelphia Eagles may have just landed not one, but two of the league's brightest stars. The news, first picked up by ESPN insiders, has sparked a frenzy among fans and analysts alike, with speculation running wild about who these mysterious acquisitions could be. According to sources close to the team, the Eagles are quietly finalizing deals that could dramatically alter the balance of power in the NFC. While official confirmations remain scarce, the buzz is impossible to ignore. Social media has already exploded with conjecture, ranging from potential quarterback shakeups to blockbuster trades involving marquee receivers and defensive stalwarts. The organization, known for strategic maneuvering in recent seasons, appears to be pulling off a masterstroke under the radar. Industry insiders suggest this move could be a calculated response to last season's nail-biting playoff exit. With the Super Bowl as the ultimate prize, adding two high-profile players would inject both talent and star power into a roster already brimming with promise. Some analysts are pointing to the Eagles' recent draft choices and salary cap flexibility as the key enablers for such a bold double signing. Meanwhile, rival teams are reportedly scrambling to assess how this could shift the competitive landscape in the NFC East. Of course, with rumors of this magnitude, caution is warranted. The league has yet to release formal statements, and the identities of the players remain tantalizingly under wraps. Yet, the sheer intensity of the chatter suggests that something monumental is indeed underway. Could this be the move that finally solidifies Philadelphia's claim to the championship throne? Or is it another high-profile tease destined to fizzle? One thing is certain. Eagles fans are holding their collective breath, while the rest of the NFL watches closely, knowing that if these whispers prove true, the upcoming season could be unlike anything we've seen before. Stay tuned, because in the world of professional football, rumors like these rarely stay quiet for long, and the Eagles may just have changed the game forever. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.